Sarah Yates. I had heard of Coyote Hill in high school. We had a couple that went to our church that were house parents actually out at Coyote Hill. I became very interested in foster care and everything, and when we were looking to get licensed, someone had told me that Coyote Hill had just started offering licensing classes. I met Zariah 3 months after we got married. I am a NICU nurse, and she was very medically complex, medically fragile. She just captured my heart the first day I took care of her. It became clear that she was going to be looking for a foster home. They put me in contact with her caseworker. We had a placement letter for her in April. In December, her bio mom signed her rights away. And then in January, her bio dad signed as well. We adopted Zariah on April 6th of 2021. And end of June, she had her big accident. I was at work, and my husband was running to the grocery store doing a Walmart pickup, and Zariah was just sitting on the couch watching TV. And then he just gave her a big kiss on the forehead and said he would see her when she got back. Then he got home from the groceries, and the home health nurse ran out and said, Zariah's not breathing. My husband almost immediately, when he got in there, realized her trach was out and put her trach back in and started doing CPR. I get a phone call from EMS saying that Zariah was in cardiac arrest. I barely got the words out to my supervisor that was there, I need to go. She was like, I'll drive you. And as we were pulling out, we got a phone call that said that they were able to get a pulse and that they were driving her to the ER. With my medical background, I knew it would take a miracle for her to come home. I kept having to tell myself again and again, this is real, this is not a dream, this is happening. We met her upstairs in one of the rooms in the PICU, and then the PICU attending comes in and is yeah, there's a very good possibility she's brain dead right now. Following night, her brain activity on her EEG decreased so much that they thought something was wrong with the machines. We told the PICU attendings that we were gonna remove life support on Tuesday. On Saturday, we just spent the weekend holding her, and I held her. I would just cried and cried as soon as the nurses left the room and stuff. And I don't know, I just felt like I had failed her, because if I was there, this probably wouldn't have happened. I'm so glad I got to know her and I got to be her mom. But then there's that little thought in the back of my head that was well, maybe if she wasn't placed with me, then she would have had a different home health nurse, or the circumstances would be different, and then maybe the accident wouldn't have happened. If it wasn't for my faith, there's no way, because fostering is just so hard. We've sacrificed almost everything for these kids. We have 5 kids placed with us right now. We have an 11-year-old, 2 7-year-olds, and 2 1-year-olds. A lot of these kids have gone through so much, more than some adults will go through in their entire life, and they're only 7. Sometimes media portrays it oh, if they just get the love they need, eventually we'll just have this picture perfect ending, and that's not realistic. That's not what actually happens. I hate when people say oh, your kids are so lucky to have you and stuff. I'm if these kids were lucky, they would have been born into a nice, stable, loving family. That's what they deserve. They don't deserve to be in foster care. This is really hard for them. It's the best thing for these kids is for their parents to get their lives together and for them to go back to their parents, because that's going to cause the least trauma for them in the long run. They still love their bio families, even regardless of all this stuff, and most of the time that's where they still want to be deep down. The number one risk factor for having your kids end up in foster care is being a former foster youth. And so it's just usually this generational trauma cycle.